What's up? And we got our plates from Ohio, baby. We're back in business. So, if you're new to the channel, don't forget, mash the like button, mash the subscribe button, and we're gonna be getting into it, right? We're gonna be talking about on this video registering your truck in another state, somewhere that's not your home state. So there's many reasons why you might want to do this, and I could finally talk about it, and I am successful at doing so, and maybe it might not work out for you in your state. Every different state has different jurisdictions and how everything is gonna wind up working out. So anyways, let's get to it, right? We got a couple comments in here. We got Charles Brent. All right. Hey, Hamlet. Happy Memorial Day. So everybody, happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. In honor for this year, I'm honoring Dwight Burns. He was a soldier that I went to AIT with. And we only spent like about a month or two together. And we went our separate ways. I went to South Korea. And I think he went to... I think he stayed stateside, but anyways, he did lose his life. He was a helicopter mechanic, and shout outs to Dwight Burns, and may you rest in may you rest forever well. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, let's do a couple shout outs here before we get started. And we got Chill Rocha in the house. First one to comment. Nathan Nicholas, hello boss man. Nathan, what's up? How you doing? And we got Point to Point Transportation. What's up, Ryan? That's the Freemans, right? Shallow Creek, go Army, beat Navy. That's right, baby. All right. So, without further ado, let's talk about it, right? If you guys been following the channel, we've been talking about I had got registered in New York, and because of that, I was unable to pretty much grow my fleet the way I wanted it to because of the restrictions. Because of the restrictions that I was getting from New York, and you might from the insurance restrictions, and you might be in the same boat. Like for instance, if you're in Florida, you're trying to, register your truck somewhere else other than Florida, like maybe Georgia, because Florida is too high risk state and the insurance is, through the roof or whatever may have you, right? And reasons like that could be a reason why you want to register your truck out of state, right? And because of me, my example, I really couldn't get insured for multiple trucks in New York State, but because I had my shop in Ohio, I was able to use that address and get insurance out of Ohio. And I was able to get a very good rate, and I didn't have any of the, the BS that I had to deal with New York. And finally, we got our plates from Ohio. So we are essentially on the way to getting things done. So right now, when I bought this Classic, I didn't go through New York to get it done. I went through New York, through Ohio, and it was a whole learning process of how to do that. And let me tell you, Ohio did make it a little bit complicated than New York. Every state is going to have a different process of the IRP, right? IRP is International Registration Bureau. That is like pretty much the DMV for heavy trucks, for semis. Typically, there's only maybe one or two or just a couple of locations in your state that you have to go to that will help you get your IFTA and help you get your plates for your tractor. You can't walk to the DMV or to the BMV in any state to get your truck registered unless it's listed as an IRP. So like you normally do, unlike how you normally do with a regular car, you walk into the DMV, you get your plates, and you're off to go. That's not how it works with big trucks. And so, essentially, um, with New York, I mean with Ohio, the one thing that was different when getting the truck registered was that they wanted to inspect the truck and make sure that the truck listed on the title was the truck that was listed on the title per se. What do I mean by that? Like, I actually had to drive the truck in Ohio to the DMV, and they had to inspect it on and make sure on the frame or on the frame or the cab that it showed the same serial number, same VIN that was listed on the title. That makes no I never even knew about that, right? Like, I never knew that existed. But when I was speaking to other people that had trucks registered in other states, like Joey Cruz, his truck is registered in Pennsylvania, he says yes, that's not out of the norm. We got I had to get my truck registered in when I registered my truck in Pennsylvania, they required an inspection of the truck, and I had to bring it over. I got it done at the dealer. So he went to the international dealer, and they just pretty much made sure on the title the VIN number showed exactly what the title says. And I never had to do that for New York, but I had to do that with Ohio. So let's read some comments before we progress. We got Trucking with Loshawn Parks. Hola, Hamlet. Damn. Loshawn watching. I caught the busy man watching. All right. We got Dean River. What's going on, bro? Getting ready to build a fleet soon. Nice info. Appreciate it. Rashad Curry, how much it run you for the plates? I'm about to disclose that information right now. And my dad, Rene Dubois, thought you were going to hang out with your family. I was hanging out with them. They left this morning. And guess what? I'm just sitting here trying to get some stuff done. We got Sandra Shearson. Hey. All right. Going back to what I was saying. Trucking LoSean Parks. I'm always watching, bro. Oh, wow. Okay. Appreciate it, LoSean. Didn't know. But anyways, let's go back to what we were saying. Registering the truck. Essentially, what I needed to do was, and let me disclose this. You don't need to have your license in that same state that you're registering. So what I mean by that is that my license right now is in New York. All right, my license is in New York. I was able to get Ohio plates with that license. So you don't have to be a resident of that state to get the license plates done for your truck. What you do need to have, which is I guess the most important part, which kind of makes it common sense. What you need to have is a place of business or an address per se. This address could be one of your homeboys that you know in that state, or I wouldn't say virtual office, because I have tried the virtual office. And a lot of these DMVs or IRP places, they know what addresses are the virtual offices. How do they know that? Well, when I tried to register in New York with the virtual office, they immediately picked up on it. They said, no, we can't use this because we know about this address. This address is, something's iffy with this address. And I'm like, well, it's a virtual office. That's what I told them. I'm like, okay. He says, but based off our guidelines, it doesn't, we can't register that address. We see that address as a P.O. box, essentially, right? And I said, well, that's kind of horseshit, because that address includes everything what a business needs to have. And which is, I have a phone number that somebody's always picking up. If you go to that address and you need to get a hold of somebody from Cybertron, which is me, you can do so. And yeah, so like pretty much they were arguing with me with that. So I couldn't win that. They pretty much were gonna kick me out the door if I didn't provide them with a real factual address. Let's read the comment we got here below. LoShawn Parks, is it best to register the plate in a state that offers cheap insurance? That's what I had to do, LoShawn. I mean, in New York, when I tried to register two trucks, when I I could register the two trucks, but when I came to after registering the two trucks and calling the insurance guy, they said we can't help you out. Like, there's no insurance companies that will give you insurance because of you're in New York. And because you're in New York, the insurance company is looking at New York as New York City. So even though my location, the address I was giving, was way the hell out of New York City, they were still really looking at New York as a high risk location. And because of that, even when I got to qualify for one truck, my premiums was just as high as two trucks in Ohio. If you got, you know, you think about that for a second, that's a lot of money. I know people have the same issue when they try to register their truck and they're close to Miami or Orlando. The more closer you are to Miami or Orlando, your premiums are going to be much higher because of all the the vandalism and the people stealing semis in Miami. So definitely finding that kind of state that offers cheap insurance, I think, is key. And that was key for me because now look, if we consider when I first started off and I was trying to get these two trucks and it was a mission, let's just say I was able to get these two trucks, right? If I was able to get these two trucks in New York, my growth would have been limited. They would have said, okay, if we're coming at you with two trucks, you cannot add any more trucks for the full year, right? So look at me now. Essentially, I'm at three trucks. I'm about to be at a fourth truck when this owner op lease is on. And so it's just a whole much better situation from moving my business over to Ohio. Now, I haven't fully moved my business to Ohio. We'll get that. We'll get to that just a little bit, right? But let's just talk about finding the state, right? If you look back right now at all the trucking companies, you start paying attention to what plates a lot of these trucks have, like the mega carriers, you're gonna find a lot of them are in mostly the same kind of states. You know, you're gonna find a lot of them are gonna be Tennessee, Ohio, Texas, maybe Missouri. How many times do you see a trucking company with New York plates? Not many, right? Like, I could probably still count how many trucks I've seen with New York plates. And there's a reason why that's like that. And Indiana, like you said, LoShawn, Indiana, a lot of megas too, exactly. So finding that location and finding the state that's going to work out for you for the insurance, you definitely need to find, you need to get on the phone and talk to insurance. Hey, how about if I work out insurance? Can you give me a quote based off, Indiana, based out of Ohio, based out of Texas, this, that, the third. And working on that. Dean River, depends on the state, exactly. So, for instance, let's see, registering trucks in Georgia is quick and easy now with the new website. And I've been trying to register a truck with New York and Ohio, and their website sucks complete garbage, So that's pretty, that's good. That's some good information to know. PA has no tax on sales of your trucks, and that's another good thing. Thanks for mentioning that, DBI 1036. When I registered my truck in New York, depending on how much I bought the truck for, I bought it for $15,000. I think they wanted about $2,000-3,000 just on sales tax. Like, that just goes to sales tax. When I registered the truck in Ohio, I didn't have to pay anything. So I listed it for the amount that I paid for, and I didn't have to pay for anything. So that was even awesome. Let me roll up this window. We got bees here. I ain't trying to get stung. So anyhow, let's see what else we got here. Like South Texas, do you think that would be cheap? Chris Moody. I'm gonna get my insurance guy to do a live video on here, and everybody's gonna come and ask the questions because he knows more or less, what states offer like the better deals, and what exclusions and what's the best bang for your buck per se, right? Sean Parks, I heard North Carolina's a good one too, but has worker comp that you have to pay into, and that's the other thing. New York, you had to pay workers comp for any employee. In certain states, I think like South Carolina, you don't have to pay workman's comp until you have more than 10 employees. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. Don't quote me. But there's a lot of these little things that you have to look at when you're building your fleet and you're hiring drivers, because workman's comp does dictate how much more you're paying the driver per se, but it's not even going to him, it's going to the state. And it's not that you're trying to dodge taxes or anything like that. You're essentially, if you don't have to pay workman's comp, I could turn around and give more money to the driver because I'm not paying workman's comp. Vice versa, right? So you might live in a state where, like, let's just say, hey, I'm trying to offer you the best I can, but this is it is because I had to pay this high ass workman's comp or these high taxes. So you have to think about that as well. So let's see right here. Let's see. Indiana's best state for trucking. Yep. All right. So no sales tax in Georgia either on trucks and trailers. Plates running around $1,200 a year. I think in Ohio you have to pay workman's comp. Yeah, I think so too. Chill Rocha, damn, I'm going to Ohio when I get my authority and register my trucks. I have family in Columbus. Exactly, Chill Rocha. And now let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about something. But before we dive in a little bit more, don't forget, we got 27 people in here. Mash the like button, mash the subscribe button, drop a comment below in the video if you don't stay with us till the end of the discussion. But let's talk about what you actually need, right? Now, what you actually need is an address, right? Virtual office is just not going to cut it. The IRP places, the International Registration Bureau, they're going to catch on to that address. Like they already have a list because people before already tried using this address, right? Because it's a cheap alternative to have an address that you can use. So let's just say we have one of those places, right? Where Alliance virtual offices, right? And I choose my location in Albany, right? Or let's just say Columbus, right? And Loshan chose this place in Columbus, and we both have the same address, but he has his different name and I have my different name. I go to IRP one day, get my stuff registered. The next day, Loshan goes, gives the same address, and they're like, wait a minute, when they punch that into the system, we already got 2 motor carriers operating out of the same address. Wait a minute, what's going on? Then the third guy comes, and that happens. So that's how they catch on to, that kind of stuff, like the virtual offices. So my best bet, the best bet you need to do is get one of your family members, right? You pay them $100 to $200 a month to have their address and say, hey, I'm gonna have my business stuff coming here, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna get it set up so that I can use your address to show that my business is located here, right? And when it comes to I'm gonna make a separate video on business credit, because there's kind of like 2 ties to it, right? Virtually, what you really want to have, what kind of address you have, a shop or a piece of land. If you have something like that, which most people are not going to have, if you have that, that's even better, right? So for me, I have my shop that I'm paying in Ohio. I was able to use that address, and that's like the best address that I could possibly use. It's better than using somebody else's home address, because when it ties it up into the business credit, it shows, hey, like, look, there's a parcel of land with a shop with some trailers parked there. This is a legitimate business address, and that's talking about business, business credit. So we won't get into that too much. But if you use a personal address, you can't really use that per se, because they won't. When they Google that, it's gonna show somebody's house and not a trucking company per se. We won't get into that too much, but we'll just say, okay, what you need to start off with is an address. Now that we got the address, what is the next thing that we need? The next thing that we need to do is pretty much get some proofs. How do I say it? Proofs of residency, right? We got to know that Cybertron, right, is working at this address, that lives in this address, and did not just pull this address out of nowhere, right? Because I could just easily walk down the street and I see this address. Oh, okay, hey, yep, this 90 State Street. Yep, this is gonna be my address, and I could just write it down. Well, they need proof of addresses, right? The IRP people do, right? What are proofs of addresses? Well, a lot of the IRP places, they're gonna give you what are proofs of addresses. A lot of these things are gonna be, the main things is a bank statement, right? So the first thing you need to do is just go ahead and switch your bank or open up another business bank account and send the first bank statement to that address, right? Then you actually receive, from such and such credit union or whatever bank to that address, and you have it in the bank statement showing that, hey, I received my bank statement here. So that's going to count as one proof of address. The second proof is going to be a lease agreement. So if you're doing it from your homeboy's address, he can easily write up you a lease agreement saying, hey, Cybertron Enterprises CEO Hamlet Dubois is going to be leasing out this address for 1 or 2 years, or however the term length is or whatever, and you sign it and all that. That's your second proof of address. The third one is too easy. Third one is the insurance. That's the last one you'll get after you buy the truck. So once you have the address, once you have the address, you'll be calling the insurance company, hey, switch it over to this. Then they'll switch it over to that, and then they get you an insurance quote, and then they give that insurance, and that insurance is your third proof. Now that you got your third proof of residency, now you can go to IRP and give them, and let me tell you this. It has to be all in the business name, right? If the bank statements come out and it says your personal name, they're not going to count that. What they're seeing is this bank statement needs to be under Cybertron Enterprises. The lease agreement needs to be under Cybertron Enterprises. The insurance needs to be under Cybertron Enterprises. All of these things need to match up, because if you try to go there with one thing in your name and not in the company's name, they're gonna reject you straight up, and that's just a cold stone fact. With Ohio IRP, New York IRP, and this is the two places that I've dealt with, they will send you back. So going back, right, now that we know what we need, you can go to the IRP, register your truck out of state without even touching your driver's license, right? Without even ever touching your driver's license. And let me tell you, you don't even need to have your LLC formatted in that state. Like, my LLC is still in New York right now. Now, I think there's some gray areas in doing that. No doubt about it. There might be some gray areas, but I'm working on switching my business over from New York to Ohio. But first, we needed to see that this was going to work in order for me before I moved the business back to Ohio. So if you're in the predicament where you have a license that's, let's just say, New York, and you're trying to register your truck in Georgia, your New York license doesn't have to do it. You don't have to change it to Georgia. It makes it easier, no doubt about it. It will make it easier, because now you will have a lot more proofs, right? The proofs of residency that we were talking about, going to that personal address. But you can still do it by getting that bank statement, getting the lease agreement, and getting the insurance. Those three things is all you're going to need to give the Ohio to give to the IR loss connection there. Let's keep those three things is what you're gonna need to give the IRP essentially. All right. So once that is done, you go there, you register your truck, and they give you the plates. Straight up, it's that easy. So with Ohio, I had to get the truck registered. I actually had to bring the truck to them. They had to verify the VIN matched up and all that. And then once they did that, they said, okay, we'll print you out your title. They printed out the title. Then I go to Ohio IRP, give them the thing, and the plates cost me, because we're already half the year, they cost me $700 about. They told me at Ohio, the plates run about $1,600 to $1,700 for the full year. All right, I gotta open this door again. Sorry. So $1,600, $1,700 for the whole year. That's Ohio. I don't know, and I think New York was very similar. I think New York was about $1,800 to $1,900 for the year, but they did have sales tax. So it's just about knowing all the different states and what's gonna work out for you. You know what I mean? Now here's the other thing. Here's the other part, right? So I have one truck right now that's registered in Ohio, and I still have two trucks registered in New York. My IFTA is out of New York still. So when I tried to apply for IFTA out of Ohio, they said we can't give you IFTA right now until you close your account, your IFTA account in New York. So that's something else to think about. So now I have to write a letter, or get a pretty much a form saying that, hey, I want to cancel my New York IFTA. And once they send me the request, hey, your IFTA's been canceled, call Ohio IFTA, say, hey, I want the IFTA from here, and then slowly work on moving all my equipment over to Ohio. All right. In this process, I still have the paperwork. I still have the IFTA from New York. So it's not like I'm putting myself in jeopardy. If a truck gets pulled over, we won't get inspected. If we get inspected, something's not matching up, we're still good. As long as you got IFTA, that's the only thing they want to see. The officer is like, as long as you got an IFTA reporting out of some state, it doesn't matter what plates you have on there, that's all they want to see. All right, so let's read some comments. I know I was talking my head off right now, but let's talk about it. All right, let's see. Shallow Creek, stop Carmelian carriers. Exactly. We got DBI 1036. You can write off the shop on your taxes. Close is much better for you in case of an insurance. Look at you. You try to convey concerns, fraud. So you having a shop is really, really awesome. Exactly. Transfer broker, how did you start building business credit instead of your social? We'll get to that in another video. All right, buddy. Truck and Willis-Shawn Parks, Florida is stupid high. I don't recommend registering in Florida at all. Exactly, LoShawn. LoShawn, you said it. It's higher than Georgia. Don't recommend Florida at all. Transport booker. Florida is higher than Georgia, even though you don't have the state taxes. Absolutely. Insurance is really high in Florida. Florida is high in insurance, but registration is $1,200. Scott Dera, sup Hamlet. What's up, Scott? Thought Georgia was pretty high with insurance also, but the difference is you got some taxes savings in Florida. If you can get Indiana, that's where I would recommend. Also, Wyoming is really cheap too. I read about Wyoming before. Harry Durant, hey Hamlet, what's up? Chill Rocha, great info, bro. I'll catch the rest of the replay. Need to keep on trucking. Hey brother, you stay safe, and happy Memorial Day for you. But yeah, essentially I wanted to get on here and discuss about that information, and it is actually possible to register your truck in another state with just some really basic stuff. You can actually get it done. So let's see, I think you pay a lot of taxes in Florida, DBI 1036. Yeah, I don't know what it is with Florida. I think, like I said, the insurance guy told me like a lot of theft, vandalism happens in Florida, and because of that, the insurance is that high in Florida. So I hope you guys appreciate the information I'm dropping, and you can use that information to get your truck registered in another state, such as Texas or whatever. Now, like I said, there's a gray area right now because my LLC is out of New York, and I guess I am operating out of Ohio. But as long as you show that you're moving your business over to whatever state you need to, then you can get shit done. You know what I'm saying? Um, we got Walt Smith. Registration in Mass is high too. See my previous note. Oh my God. We got Brian Crow. Thank you, brother. I live in Florida, born, raised in Ohio. Thanks for the advice. Thanks. You're welcome, Brian. I hope the information comes. You know, good information. You know, whatever you guys need to do, call somebody up, one of your homeboys, a family, friend, or even try to find a business that you can actually use a legitimate address to push your information or to use as a front for your business. Will definitely help you out, bro. I think you can do this. You do this. It's not a gray area. DBI 1036, and that's the thing. It's like the I'm doing it right now. You know what I mean? And like, there's nobody has called me yet and say, hey, this is, you need to change all this. You know, but so far so good. Like, I am working on moving the stuff to Ohio, so as long as you're showing that you're trying to do that, and that you chose the wrong state to originate your LLC, I think you can definitely get a lot of things done. All right. DBI 1030 can tell you why you can say that Ohio place for right now is like a satellite office, like a terminal. And that's the other thing that, like, you know, that's a good way of mentioning DBI 1036 is like, you know, it's a satellite place. You know what I mean? It's just like a terminal. I'm gonna have multiple terminals. I mean, not saying me right now, but eventually, right? You're gonna have terminals in multiple places. Are you gonna have to change your LLC and every time you change that? No. So I think I don't have to move it to New York, but because at this point I'm fed up with New York, I just want to move my business out of New York and just not deal with them anymore. So I'll be switching over to Ohio, and that's a process on its own. I think that process right there is going to take about a month or two for me to switch my whole business from New York to Ohio, paperwork wise. But I appreciate the knowledge, DBI 1036, and I hope you guys can learn from this. If you stayed this long watching this, or you just jumped in, mash the like button, folks. Mash the subscribe button. Ring the bell on the way out so you get notified when we go live and drop a new video. I'll probably drop another video tomorrow because I'm gonna be in the hotel, because if you guys were watching, this radiator went out on the truck, and tomorrow I'm gonna be headed over to another location to get that radiator and get this truck back up and rolling. Right. We got Port King. What's up, man? If good information. Thanks for making these videos. Appreciate it, Port King, bro. I'm glad you're doing good, man. Keep up the good work. You're not easy, and it will make it a bit, but you will see it's going to be worth it. Thanks, DBI 36. Anyways, folks, appreciate y'all watching the whole 34 minutes of it. At the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Get busy living, or you get busy dying. It's your boy, Hamlet Dubois. Check y'all later.